Do you dump in the afternoon? Are you overdumping? Do you hold yourself back and find you can't fully dump? Yes, we're talking about optimizing your solar PV and battery discharge. So stay around and I'll talk you through some of the problems and what I'm doing in SolarControlar to fix it. So stay here as Grandad does stuff. So yes, we're returning to the SolarControlar project. So this is how I'm going to try and optimize my PV system. And what we're looking at is what happens in the afternoon when I'm trying to sell that energy at peak time. So I show you my Octopus Flux tariff. When I'm trying to sell it at peak rate, I'm down here at 27, nearly 28p per unit. If, however, I need to buy any energy back during that time, it's 9p more expensive. But the good news is if I actually sell all my energy at 27p or 28p and need to buy it back shortly afterwards, the import rate, once it's gone 7 o'clock, drops way back to 26p. It's just slightly less than what I've sold it for. So I should sell absolutely everything I've got, not hold on to any of it, and just buy it back later on and make a slight profit on the deal. So let's go through what that looks like in a series of charts. So this is what my profile will look like for autumn, winter and spring. So I've got timeline down here. We've got 1600, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 1900. So that gives me the export time. This line here doesn't quite go down to 0, it comes down to about 4% because that's what the battery wants to keep in it as a sort of safety minimum. So I can't completely flatten the battery, 4% is as low as it will go. And during those kind of darker months, which are the summer, I'm unlikely, even if I top my battery up fully overnight, most of that will have gone. I won't put much in during the day. So I'm going to end up with around 60, 70%. And what would normally happen is you just sort of sell that as a nice slow trickle all the way down to 7 o'clock, and that will be absolutely fine. Let's start looking at what some of the problems are. If again, I've got up to like 60 or 70% and I'm trying to sell this stuff, if I've got the export level set too high, I can flatten the battery in probably a couple of hours. So in this last hour or more, I haven't got anything left in my battery. So I'm buying energy back from the grid. So I've sold energy here at 27, 28p, and I'm suddenly buying it back at 36p. That's kind of over dumping. This kind of, because I haven't kept the energy in the battery that I need to use for myself. If we can extend this period out and get into the last half hour down here, I'm selling my energy and I've got to a minimum, and presumably I'll be using some in this latter part of this half hour. I'll be buying it back in. That's fine because my bill is averaged or totaled over the half hour. And providing I only use what I've sold in that half hour, I won't end up paying you the extra 9p per unit. My initial thought on trying to solve this was that if I have a discharge profile that goes from 100%, so I'm thinking about what happened in the summer as well, down to like here, which this was about 18%, because that'll still give me 1.5 kilowatts here to play with during this last half hour I want to. But I can still easily dump 1.5 kilowatts in half an hour through here. So my thought was, if I'm above that line, I'm happy to export as much as fast as possible. If I'm below the line, then I probably want to hold on so I've got some energy for me so I haven't overdumped. And I went ahead and implemented all that solution, and it was great until the first day it actually came to be used, and real life had a slightly different opinion. Now, what happened was, charged up 100%, discharge line discharged very rapidly. It was an absolutely overcast day, very thundery, black clouds everywhere, not much solar. What happened was I discharged faster than my orange line, so I stopped discharging. What happened then was the clouds parted, and it was a gloriously bright, sunny afternoon beyond that. In fact, it was so sunny that I was generating more than 5 kilowatts off the panels. It saturated the inverter, so the inverter wasn't able to convert that into energy to sell to the grid, so it started charging the battery back up again. Well, that persisted for quite a long while. And in fact, for so long that when it got to the end, about, I'm just guessing around 6 o'clock here, it was unable to discharge the battery right down to its 4% target. So I held onto energy here at the beginning of the time period, and I couldn't then sell it during that time period. I would refer to that as underdumping. I haven't dumped enough energy out on the grid. So that was quite a surprise. This is what my trace for that day actually looked like. You can see at the top here, I was at 100%. I started to sell stuff quite well. This is where I started to realize that I was selling too much. So I turned the export off. You can see that I'm no longer exporting. I'm from the importing power shortly after, because the solar kicked in so much. And then later on, I started exporting power again, and I was able to get down to about 50% almost I exited that day. It carried on being so sunny after 7 o'clock, it actually put another 12, 13% back in the battery afterwards. So that was an underdumping scenario. Now, I don't think this is going to kind of earn me a huge amount of money. I think the number of times this happens is going to be relatively small. The amount of money is quite small. I think the bigger problem is during the autumn, winter, kind of the selling too much energy, the overdumping, and having to buy it back. That's really the target of what I'm trying to solve here. So the current solution that I think I have is to set a target line of this orange line down here. So starting at maybe 30, 35%, ending at around 18, 20%. And as long as I'm above that line, I can export energy. So up here, very rapidly, it's going to export things down to 30% or less. And that will give me enough to power all my devices, even cook tea during that time. But crucially, because I'm not stopping it right at the top of the percentage levels, it's only stopped quite low down here. Once it gets later on, the solar energy tends to drop off, and I should be able to export whatever reserves I've got down to my 4% target. So I should stop the underdumping problem that we had. So that's what my current solution is based on. So if you go to my GitHub project, Grandad Does Stuff, and the SolarControlar folder within that, look for the 009 tag, and you'll be up to date with where we are at the time this video is recorded. It actually has this solution in here. So the other things that are in there, I've actually now got some testing of various classes in that project. And also it's written after I've done the Woodpecker CI video. So it all runs in a pipeline as I do pushes. So hopefully we're putting a bit more quality into that code as well. So if you're interested in that Raspberry Pi project to automate all of this, does require you have a give energy battery and accounts and various things. Look at the previous video to see what you need. And if you've got any questions about that, stick them in the comments below. And you know what to do in terms of like, subscribe, comment, share it about, and give it some love. So thanks very much, and I'll see you next time on Grandad Does Stuff.